Well, I think he's going to say that that he is going to support her and try to beat Donald Trump, but on her behalf, he wants her to be very clear about the social policies and the economic policies that she'll follow, and hope that they'll be as close to his as possible. That is, to reverse the distribution of wealth going from the bulk of the population to the very rich that's happened over the last 40 years, and he wants that to change.
Does that mean you think that he will formally suspend his campaign?
No, I don't think he will suspend his campaign. He considers it a movement, a political revolution. It's going to go on and on. He will go into the convention. He will battle for a good program, a good platform from the convention, and then he will go forward and work on the campaign.
Do you see any similarities between his campaign and Donald Trump's campaign, in as much as both of them are very critical of the present state of America and say they're worried about the people who are losing out?
Well, I think there's very little, really. They're at opposite ends of it, almost every spectrum. You're right, though, that there are a lot of people. This shift of wealth impacts people. Millions of people are not doing well. They're doing less well than they were. They're doing certainly less well than they expected to be, and there is that much anger. So I suppose there is that similarity, but on every other measure, they're very different.
Because there's some of your brother's supporters who've said that they simply can't abide Hillary Clinton, and they might even think about voting for Donald Trump.
Well, the polls show the very tiny fraction. I suppose any group of millions of people will have varieties of people within it, but the percentages are very small.
So the message would be, when it comes to the general election in America, Sanders supporters should vote Democrat, should vote Clinton.
I think Bernard will be saying that very clearly, yes. But he will be hoping that he will be stronger if the Clinton he is supporting the people of America that he thinks need help.
Has it been difficult for him? Obviously, he comes from a state, Vermont, a rural state. The whole question of gun control been difficult for him, because perhaps if he'd stayed in your home area of New York, he would have had a rather tougher attitude on that.
Well, that's been exaggerated for political purposes. Bernard has been against assault weapons that don't play a part in hunting, or which is what his constituents do, and they don't kill people. Vermont is a very peaceful state. But weapons like the ones that were used in the horrible events, he's been against those for decades.
And is there, do you think, any connection between the sort of mood that makes people want to support Sanders in America with the people who want to vote against the European Union in this country?
No, I don't think so. I think the only connection is that if you have governments, successive governments, as we've had in this country, Labour, coalition, Conservative, which don't pay attention to a lot of the large part of the population, there is a lot of free-floating anger, and perhaps when those politicians they come around and say, "Well, vote for something that's important to us," people might say, "Well, what did you do for us when we needed it?" So in that sense, there is some connection. I think Bernard hasn't really spoken much about the issue.
What about you? Have you got a vote in the European referendum?
I will be voting in the European referendum. Yes.
Why is that?
As the Green Party in general will be.
Yeah, one or two divisions, though, aren't there, in the Green Party? But you think that even on environmental issues, the European Union's been good, do you?
Well, it has been better. Yes, it has been good on some workers' issues. It has been good on some environmental issues. It's by no means perfect. It's very flawed. But the estimate, I think, of the vast majority of the Green Party is that we're better in than out.
And your brother supports continued membership of Britain in the European Union, does he?
I don't think he said anything about it. It's not come up in the American election.
Yeah.
He's certainly not. He's not said anything either way.
Okay. And finally, is there any chance that we might be talking to the brother of the man who's going to be vice president in a few months' time?
I think there is an outside chance, but I wouldn't put too much money on it.
Larry Sanders, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you very much.